What's up VideoFort Nation, this is VideoFort Ruan with another awesome VideoFort tutorial. Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at working with layers inside of After Effects. So basically After Effects is a layer based compositor. So if you ever worked with something like Photoshop or one of those applications, you'll be familiar with working with layers. But let me just show you guys how that works. So first of all, we're going to create a new composition. So just right click in your project window, click on new composition. And you don't have to give it a name, it's fine, you can leave it at comp 1, and I'm going to be using the HDTV 1080-25 preset, and I'm going to leave it at 20 seconds for the duration, and I'm going to click on OK. And let's just import one video as well. So the video that you've downloaded in the project files called Eyes, just drag that into your project window as well. Okay, so let's drag our Eyes video into our composition. So just drag it all the way down and release your mouse, and that will bring in your first layer. So it's always important to rename your layers, so just to keep things neat and tidy, and also that you know what's going on in your composition. So an easy way to do that, just highlight your composition and press enter, and that will enable renaming. And let's just call this Eyes footage, and just press enter again, and that will save the new name. Okay, next we're going to create a new text layer. So there's also a few different ways to create a new layer. You can either go up here and click on layer and then click new, and you can select your layer from here. Or a real easy way to do this is to just right click in this area at the bottom and then go to new and then select your layer. So we're going to create a new text layer. So just click on text, and it's automatically going to place your cursor in the middle of the screen. And let's just type something here. Let's type eyes. Okay, something like that. My font will probably look a bit different because it will use the last font that you used. And let's just click here at the bottom to disable the cursor. Okay, so let's rename that new text layer. So click on the text layer, press enter, and let's call that text, and press enter again. So if you want to rearrange the order that your layers are in, you can simply just click and drag, and that will place our footage above our text. So you can see that we can't see below our footage. Let's place our text above the footage again. So drag it up, and then we'll be able to see the text. So always remember that your top items will be visible, and you cannot see through different layers unless you change the opacity, of course, and all those things, but we'll get to that. Okay, so let's create one more layer. So right click, go to new, and let's create a solid. Okay, and the solid settings window will come up, and it's going to ask you for the size of your solid. So currently it's set to the same size as our composition, which is fine. And it's also going to ask you for the color. So let's just change this. Let's make it red, and then click OK, and then click OK to confirm. Okay, you'll see that you'll have a red solid that's actually filling your composition. And let's rename that. So just click on red solid and press enter, and let's just call it red, and press enter again. Okay, so what I want to do, I actually want to move this layer to the side. So I'm going to select my selection tool right at the top, and with my red layer selected, I'm just going to click and drag anywhere in the composition to drag that layer around. And now you can see that our text is below our red solid and the footage is below our text. So the same way that you can see in this area here at the bottom, red solid at the top, text is in the middle, and the eyes footage is at the back. So if we should drag this eyes footage up, then our text will disappear. And let's drag our text up again. There we go, you can see the text. So that's basically how layers work in After Effects. It's really simple. If you want to delete a layer, just highlight it and press delete on your keyboard. And you can also duplicate a layer. So if you highlight a layer, go to edit here at the top, you can click on duplicate. Or you can use the shortcut, which is Command D if you're using a Mac, and I think it's Control D if you're using a PC. And if you duplicate it, it will just clone that layer, and it will create a new layer. So let's see, if I drag this one layer down, you'll see that it's got exactly the same text, color, everything. And now we've got two text layers. So let's duplicate the eyes footage as well. So I'm going to use the shortcut this time. So I'm going to press Command D on my keyboard while that's highlighted, and it will automatically rename the new one as eyes footage 2. So with that layer selected, I'm just going to drag, and you'll see that we've got two layers of the same footage. Okay, I'm going to delete our eyes footage 2. So select it and hit delete on your keyboard. And I'm also going to delete the text 2. So click on it and then press delete. Okay, next I want to change the opacity for our text. So with the text selected, I'm just going to make the text a little bit bigger. So here on the right hand side under character, you can change the size of your text here. So I'm just going to make it a bit bigger, and I'm going to drag and move it so it's kind of in the center. And then what I want to do, I want to change the opacity of my text. So you'll see it's got a little arrow here on the side, and if I click on that, it will open up the properties for that layer. And if I click again next to transform, it will open up the transform settings. And here you've got all these different settings that you can change. So you've got position. So if I click and drag on one of these numbers, you can actually adjust the position of your text. And the same with scale. So here you can make it bigger and smaller. Let's undo that. And you get rotation. So you can set the rotation here as well. And below that you've got opacity. So currently that's set to 100%. And if you drag this down, you'll see that your text will become invisible when it's set to 0. And if you bring that up, you can actually see through that text. So let's set the opacity to 50. So you can just click and then enter a value and press enter, and that will save that value. So let's click on this down arrow again to hide all those settings. And now we've changed the opacity of that one layer. Okay, let's do that on a different layer as well. So let's duplicate our eyes footage. I'm going to click on it and then Command D on the keyboard to duplicate it. And then I'm just going to offset it. So I'm just going to click on it and drag it. And now I want to set the opacity for that layer. So let's click on the drop down, and then let's click on the drop down next to transform, and let's set the opacity to around 40%. So type in 40 and press enter. And now you can actually see, you can see through that layer and you can see the footage at the background. Let's just hide all these settings. And we move that around, you can actually see through that layer, which is pretty cool. So that's the basics of working with layers in After Effects. Also be sure to check out VideoFort.com for some awesome clips to practice with, and I'll see you guys in the next video.